The State Capture Commission says former SABC Chief Operating Officer Hlaudi Motsoeneng and the former Group CEO Lulama Mokhobo should be investigated for an irregular deal. Now, the fifth and final report of the inquiry into corruption and fraud in the public sector found that the two possibly contravened sections of the Public Finance Management Act when concluding an agreement between the SABC and the now-defunct Gupta-owned The New Age newspaper to do breakfast briefings. The public broadcaster entered into that deal with TNA, as it's been shortened to, in 2011. That required government departments or ministers to at times pay to appear on broadcasts that were aired on the SABC. The Commission said the arrangement cost the SABC millions, and that should be recovered from the assets belonging to TNA or those held by members of the Gupta family. Well, he has been implicated. He's willing to speak to us. We're joined this late afternoon by the former COO of the SABC, Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Motsoeneng.
Thank you very much.
Why are you laughing? You're happy to be here.
I'm laughing because you are talking about PFMA.
The Public Finance Management Act.
Yes. Do you understand it?
I think I do, but can we first just go back to the 11.5 million rand? Because since you've left the SABC, I think we've spoken in your political capacity. I'd like to ask your thoughts as a politician a little bit later on. But perhaps the last time you were in these hallways or in the studio, perhaps you were riding high on the success fee, the 11.5 million rand success fee for this deal with the New Age. You were then told by the courts to pay the money back. The Zondo Commission confirming that finding that you should pay the money back. Are you going to pay the money back?
Have you done your research properly?
Yes.
Because what you are saying, you are misleading.
Why?
This 11 million, it has nothing to do with New Age or TNA.
Yes, we're talking about this.
You are quoting TNA.
Forgive me, we're talking about the MultiChoice deal that you signed. That's also in the Zondo report, 11.5 million rand.
Now you're correct.
Yes.
The MultiChoice.
And you've said it's not even 11.5 million rand. It's gone through the courts. The Zondo Commission reporting on that again. Your response?
What you must be happy is I have created employment for you and others at the SABC. This is my legacy. The reason why you are working at the SABC is because of my innovation to make sure that at least I create employment, and no one has ever in the history of South Africa created employment the way I did. So the 11 million, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm in court. I have appealed that matter, so the matter is in court.
So what is your response to the Zondo Commission saying you should pay that money back?
They are talking about history. Zondo is not a court. He was leading the commission. The matter is in court.
All right, so you'll wait and see. Your response to some of the overall findings. The Commission found it was most probable, and it used these words, that your gross abuse of power at the SABC, including diverting public resources vested in the SABC to benefit the Gupta's rival media companies. So let's start there. Were you diverting public resources to benefit the Gupta enterprise?
How do I get involved in the TNA and the SABC? If you read that report, it says that project started in 2009. Where I was in 2009? I was in Bloemfontein.
So you have nothing to do with the New Age breakfast?
Nothing, zero.
So the Zondo Commission is completely wrong to then say that you were part of this irregular deal that benefited the Guptas and the New Age.
You know, wrong is very interesting. They have never done investigation, or they were pushing their own issues. It has nothing to do with me, this issue.
For the sake of our viewers...
You are working for news.
Yes.
You came during the Ngubane board. And the newsroom, this division, newsroom, they were not reporting to me. They were reporting to the GCO. It has nothing to do with me. Even in that report of Zondo, there is no evidence that I was involved. The fingers point somewhere, not to me. Is there?
So,
have you read the report?
Yes, and for the sake of our viewers...
But you agree with me?
Can I outline what the issue is? And then I just want your response, if you don't mind. The issue is that the New Age was running these business briefings. The SABC was broadcasting those briefings. So the SABC was providing presenters, cameras. The Zondo Commission, like others, said that was using resources. We were paying for that broadcast for a competitor. The New Age was getting coverage out of that, and ministers and departments were paying to be at those New Age breakfasts. Did those not happen while you were here as COO?
No. The Zondo Commission says that I must be investigated because maybe I was involved. I'm saying I was not involved. In 2012, all these broadcasting divisions, they were not reporting to me. I was in charge for HR and other divisions within the SABC in 2012.
Did you ever look at the New Age broadcasts and think, that's a bit strange, the SABC is marketing, as the Zondo Commission says, a competitor?
No, I'm not going to answer that. I'm answering the issue that Zondo is saying I must be investigated, and I'm saying even if they can investigate, there is nothing in that Zondo report. There is no evidence. No one implicated me. There is nothing. There is zero. You read that report. My name is not there.
Do you agree that the TNA briefings, whoever was responsible, was wrong? I mean, government ministers were paying to get airtime on SABC. They should be speaking to the SABC as a matter of course and be accountable to the public.
Look, you know, I'm not a coward. You see, I have been at the SABC. When I arrived here at the SABC, there was that relationship between TNA and the SABC, and all of us at the SABC, including the boards of the SABC during that time, there was nothing wrong that we see in that TNA relationship, because SABC, example, Chief Justice, he's saying that when they analyze, you know, English is nice, analyzed, they realized that SABC paid 4.2 million, which means SABC pay production of the SABC, not production of the TNA. You see, the issue here is...
No, the issue was that the TNA was getting free airing on SABC. There was the New Age breakfast branding that was being broadcast by the SABC. So the SABC was broadcasting effectively a competitor's breakfast briefing.
No, remember, the SABC has been also doing business at certain point, I think, if I'm correct, and I'm talking under correction, we've saw it in. There was a project like this. But also, what I want to say to you is, when you analyze, let's talk about this issue of analyzing. You must also analyze how much did the SABC generate revenue from those breakfasts, because there were adverts. People were advertising. So this issue of analyzing the 4.2 million, which is SABC production, and the reason why, and remember, I was not part of this, what you call New Age formation.
Yes.
You see, I'm talking because these other matters, they happened when I was the COO of the SABC. So I was part of the board of the SABC. I was part of the executive of the SABC. So we didn't see any problem. And when the news management present the issues, example, why they did not allow a TNA to pay, example, production, is because the SABC news, you know yourself, you can't generate revenue. The policy doesn't allow that. The ICASA regulations doesn't allow that you can charge people when you do news. News doesn't generate revenue.
However, the New Age was charging government ministers and charging attendance at the breakfast. Were you aware of that?
It has nothing.
So the New Age was benefiting
I
from
cannot
a free
talk about the New
broadcast.
Age. What they did what? I'm talking about the SABC here. What I'm saying, if I work for SABC, I can't go and check what people do.
So you weren't aware of that ministers
No, I don't know. I don't know about
the new age?
No, I don't know about that. I hear from you, media, and the Zondo Commission.
All right. Can we talk about the MultiChoice deal then? You said you shouldn't pay...
No, you talk about PFMA. Remember...
I don't talk about it. The Zondo Commission is talking about it, saying you possibly contravened the PMFA.
When you introduce here, you talk about... I said, do you understand PFMA?
I believe I do, but I'm mentioning it because the Zondo Commission says you may have contravened the PMFA.
Which section?
So may we talk about
yes, which section?
I have no idea.
You see the problem of journalists, you are not doing a proper work. Let me now educate you about the PFMA. You see that section is section 3838, subsection 1B and C. You see, I believe this report was not written by Deputy Justice Zondo, because that section that is quoting, you can't charge SABC under that section, because that sections only deals with the officials of the departments. Now I'm educating you.
Okay, SABC, so only government departments you think should be
Remember,
held liable.
PFMA, there are some sections. There is section that deals with public entity, which is section 51. And that's... let me finish.
Sure.
Let me finish. Because you talk about PFMA and you don't know PFMA.
Sure.
So let me finish. That section 51 is where SABC fall under. If you want to charge or investigate, you can use that section. But that section is incorrect. You can't investigate anyone who works for SABC under that section. The section that, the Schedule 2, the one that I'm referring, it called Schedule 2 section under PFMA. That one also, you can't charge Hlaudi on that one or investigate him, because it says the people who is the accounting authority and Deputy Chief Justice Zondo. Remember when I went and tried to pursue that I must come and give evidence and also question those people who were talking about me. He said, no, Hlaudi, why do you want to do this? You are not the accounting authority. You are not the GCO of the SABC. You see? And at that point, the matter, from my personal view, was closed.
Okay, but now there is this finding. So you're quoting a lot of subsections. Are you saying that I'm mixed up as a journalist and the Chief Justice is also mixed up? He's made a mistake in this report by saying that you may have contravened the PMFA. Simple question.
Understand. What I'm saying, the PFMA, there are some sections. Did he make a mistake? Yeah, he has.
So he made a mistake.
He has erred.
Besides the PMFA and all these sections and subclauses, there is a moral issue here. Now, SABC signed a deal with MultiChoice, and there's been a lot of reporting on it and a lot of concern that the SABC was agreeing to put its clout behind MultiChoice, a private company, to support the non-encryption of set-top boxes. So for the sake of viewers, let's just quickly explain that set-top boxes are either encrypted or not when we move to digital. It benefited MultiChoice that they weren't encrypted. If they were encrypted, then competitors could easily access those boxes and offer the same thing. So let me read what the Zondo Commission said. Effectively, Mr. Motsoeneng and others, by entering in an agreement on behalf of the SABC, had decided to force the SABC to support MultiChoice's quest by arbitrarily taking the far-reaching decision to declare the set-top box encryption mechanisms as wholly unjustified. To them, the SABC's gain was worth much more than the overall impact this was going to have on digital transformation. Your response? I mean, effectively, Zondo is saying you cared about the SABC and you got the success fee, you benefited, but what about the viewing public? It wasn't about them.
But you see, there is no funding there, no recommendations, there is nothing, there is zero. Actually, the Zondo Commission, remember, you SABC people who I created employment for you, you were making noise about archives. Archives were sold to MultiChoice when you knew you are misleading and you are pushing a certain propaganda. But what is shocking for you SABC people, I have created employment. If I didn't create this channel, where were we going to work?
I think
or be employed?
nobody's looking at the employment, and remember, there's been a retrenchment process.
Are you not happy that
There's
you
been
are
a
working today
retrenchment
because of me?
process since you've left.
Are you not happy
The SABC
that
has
you
said,
are employed?
I'm
you are
very
able,
happy.
You are able to feed your children
I'm
or
delighted.
your family.
I'm delighted.
I'm very glad.
However, people have been retrenched and they are very unhappy since you've left. But can we stay with the MultiChoice deal? There is a
you are
moral
saying,
finding
I'm not going to
here.
leave this one. You are saying
Sure.
people were retrenched. When I came to SABC, they were retrenching 800 people. I stopped that process. I raised funds for the SABC. I put a strategy, and that strategy did a great financial stability within the SABC. Let me tell you, and I must tell you, people of the SABC, the SABC only collapsed when I left the SABC. The SABC only collapsed when you look the financials of the SABC, not the propaganda. Check the Auditor General, the financials that are audited. When I came here, SABC was around 4 billion company. I put it to 8 billion. And SABC in the bank, they were having around 400 million. And when I came, it was around 1 billion plus.
Yeah.
We pay even government guarantee. That was caused by other people. I have done well for this SABC. And I know people of the SABC as who are speaking, they regret that I left SABC.
If we continue with the clause around MultiChoice, you said there's no finding
pay
here.
well, ne?
There is a moral finding here, Mr. Motsoeneng. There is a moral finding that you were bent on supporting MultiChoice's interests, and remember that you personally benefited with the success fee after that deal. You were bent on supporting MultiChoice's interests in terms of digital transformation rather than South Africa and the viewing public. There's quite a damning finding here.
No, you see.
At one point, they even say, I need to find it, but it was against the Broadcasting Act, against the ethos of a public broadcaster. Your response to that? I'm just asking your response.
You see, that is an opinion. And if you read that Zondo Commission, Zondo is saying he doesn't want to deal with encryption, with the technicality. That is what that report is saying. You see, you talk about issues that you want to portray, and I'm saying to you, I don't know why you are saying this is not benefiting South Africans. South Africans are watching the same channel that you are talking. Are you saying you were not supposed to compete with your ETV as SABC? Because what was the reason for SABC to work with MultiChoice?
What I'm saying is the Zondo Commission seems to be saying that regardless of whether encryption was better or non-encryption, you seem to be making a decision around commercial interests rather than the best decision for a public broadcast and the public. So your response to that?
Commercial interest, so that you employees of the SABC, you can get that funding so that SABC is sustainable, you are employed, you are working as you are working even now.
Lucky Montana.
And I don't regret that.
Lucky Montana the other day came and said that companies like MultiChoice have gotten off lightly. There in fact was no finding against MultiChoice that they were acting improperly, unlawfully or fraudulently because they were lobbying for the non-encryption of digital set-top boxes. Do you think you're being targeted and they're being let off? Can you comment on what Lucky Montana said?
I'm not targeted there because Deputy Chief Justice is not saying anything about me. He's not saying anything about me.
He is. Effectively, Mr. Motsoeneng, by entering into the agreement, had decided to force the SABC to support MultiChoice's quest.
No, you see,
he is saying something about you.
You read what you like. You see, your problem is you read what you like. I'm also telling you what
I'm reading the Zondo Commission.
No. I'm also telling you what I like in that report. What I like in that report, there are no recommendations. that report, it has been cleared by Zondo Commission.
There was an overall finding saying that your actions were sanctioned by Faith Muthambi, the then Communications Minister, and then President Jacob Zuma. At one point, Zondo suggesting that you were a henchman for the former president, saying Motsoeneng saw himself, and he probably was the facilitator between President Zuma and at least the news section of the SABC.
No. It is his opinion. There is no evidence. You know, when you make your own opinion, there's no evidence. I have never discussed issues about the SABC with former President Zuma. If people don't like President Zuma, they should not create any story about Zuma. I have never talked to President Zuma about the SABC.
Okay, so nothing you did was at his behest, at the Gupta's behest, at Faith Muthambi's behest.
Do you believe that I can listen to anyone? Me, Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Me. I will never.
Because
I listen
your
to
own
myself. Because when I take decision, I must own up the decision. That's why I don't run away. Even at Zondo, you see at Zondo, I was swimming like a fish. That's why they could not catch me. You see, I was swimming there. That's why there's no evidence.
So you're not concerned about any of these findings by the Zondo Commission?
What concern? There's nothing in this report.
You said you had no regrets, and internally you spoke about the backlash from SABC. One of the issues was you saying that we could not report on protest action. That, I think, was a bit of a spark. The SABC 8 thereafter spoke out very publicly about what was going on at the SABC. Do you have any regrets about that?
I don't regret. I'm still saying today and tomorrow, we should not promote the violence. SABC must not do that. And
not show what's going on in the country. The concern at that point was that was to protect the government from looking bad because of service delivery protests.
No. I have never said you must not cover protest. What I said, and I will say it, one day when I emerge, these things is not going to happen in South Africa. You see, the issue here is, I said you as journalist, and it's not a secret, and I have never hid it. And I'm the only person in South Africa who has never hid any information. Even if I took a decision at the SABC, you as journalists complain, I will go public, I will talk, I will engage everyone and stand with what I believe. I may be wrong or right, but I do what I'm supposed to do. And the public...
So you still believe a public broadcaster should not show service delivery protests, should not show the actions
I said
of
the
people?
physicality. You see, it's English. The physicality.
Okay. Only
not
the peaceful
protest. Example, if someone stab you with a knife, a journalist, you go there and then people are just stabbing. I'm saying no, don't do that, because actually we must not run away that television or media, they are very influential on all these issues that are happening. That's why you have regulations that says, kids must not, all these other soapies, they must not do whatever. There is regulation for a good reason.
And we have to be very sensitive at that moment when somebody is being stabbed and possibly even losing their life. You should not broadcast that live. That's a given. That
is what I have been saying.
No, but what about demonstrations? Was this not a blanket
I have never stopped demonstration.
ban against demonstrations?
No, I have never stopped demonstration. And even Kaiser, the one now who is happy with SIU, came and explained exactly what... Yes, came and exactly explained. So what I did, actually, I did what the Broadcasting Act says I must do.
So no regrets?
Me? Not at all. I don't regret.
What about your political opinion? We've spoken after one of the elections. You did not do very well at all, but you say you're coming back. As a politician, what would you do about state capture, looking at what has come out at the Zondo Commission? What do you think should be done?
No, look, my party has done well. Remember, I was not contesting. You see the problem, people, you talk too much. I was not contesting. I was saying Hlaudi has arrived. How can you contest the elections within 3 months? Remember, it was 3 months when I formed that party.
So nobody was allowed to vote for you? You were contesting. People could vote for you.
No. It was PR exercise.
And you said that the IEC had hidden some of your votes. You said you got more votes than was reflected on the board.
No. Look, I'm at the municipality now. In Maluti-Apofung, I have councillors there.
Yes.
That shows that my movement is growing. And remember, I did not even mobilize people that side because of COVID. If I did, I was going to take that municipality.
So my question is, as a politician, if you're putting on your political hat now and saying why people should vote for you in future, what should be done about state capture, about all the reams of information, troubling information that have emerged about what has been going on in South Africa?
You see the problem about state capture. And here the blame is not Deputy Chief Justice. You know, the country has been captured here at the SABC, because I'm not going to talk about issues. Here at the SABC, why people came after me is because I dealt with what they called evergreen contracts at the SABC, big companies, and not allowing emerging business people to do business with the SABC. And I get rid of all those companies. I make sure that at least new entrants came on board. You see, whether you talk about the content or you talk about technology, that is what I have done at the SABC. So if we are saying state capture, we must not just look about the Guptas. There are people who did worse than the Guptas. You see, I'm not saying that we must allow, no, corruption. We must act on corruption. Anyone who's corrupt, we must act. But we must not have this narrative that certain people are corrupt. Actually, people who are corrupt, those who are talking a lot. You know, someone was at the ad hoc committee. He was leading that ad hoc committee investigating the SABC. Huh? Was he was arrested.
Can you name this person?
I'm not going to do that. You know the person.
So you were targeted, my final question to you, so you were targeted because of commercial interests, people with vested interests. Did the SABC 8 have interests when they spoke up about journalistic practice and what was being allowed at the SABC?
How do I get involved in the 8 journalists when I was the COO and there was group executive of news? Why do you put me there?
Yeah.
Why do you want to? Because it has nothing to do with me.
I'm asking that because you said you were targeted and they spoke out publicly. So I'm asking if they had ulterior motives.
No, I'm not saying they're journalists. You see your problem, your mind, you want to put your mind in my mind. I have never said that.
Okay, so you're talking about why you were moved out.
I was moved out because I'm independent. And I was moved out because people have seen that remember, I was changing SABC not by talking, by acting. SABC people, I paid you well also. Today, SABC, they have reduced the salary, they have reduced the scale. It's a mess here at the SABC. People are not happy at the SABC. During my time, it was happiness. All of you, you know.
All right, thank you for your time tonight. That was former SABC's Chief Operations Officer, Hlaudi Motsoeneng. Let's take a short break.